Hey everybody, I know I've talked about before reading newspaper articles, and I really haven't done that quite as often as I had planned to, but I found one that kind of has well, it has a lot to do with stuff that's been a major topic that's been going on lately about the violations to the Second Amendment, and is this shoot. Alright. This article is from the Crossville Chronicle. Just a local newspaper. And the article is revising the Second Amendment. And it is by Ted Braun. So Ted, if you watch this video, I hope that it's cool that I shared this article, because I just want... Okay, so this is a newspaper from yesterday, on the 10th of April, but still important. Alright, several weeks ago in Crossville, I saw a man wearing a t-shirt that proclaimed, "The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed." But there was no indication on the t-shirt where the quote came from, but there was no need for one. The intense national debate about the Second Amendment has taken care of that. But there was something else missing on that t-shirt. The first 13 words of the amendment, "a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state," were not included. It was doubtful whether there would have been enough room on the t-shirt for any additional words. Nevertheless, that t-shirt's shortened version of the Second Amendment turned out to be a fitting symbol of the national debate, which has consistently ignored the first 13 words and concentrated primarily on the last 14. Part of the problem in this split focus comes out of the past. Many of the founding fathers, such as James Madison and Thomas Jefferson, had studied Latin and had developed an appreciation for some of its linguistic forms. In that language, there is a grammatical construction in the ablative case called the ablative absolute. I may be pronouncing that wrong, so just forgive me if I did, because I've never seen that word before, to be honest with you. The ablative absolute. This is frequently used at the beginning of the sentence to indicate a specific context for what follows. The wording used in the Second Amendment is a good example of this. According to these founding fathers, then, the ablative construct at the beginning of the Second Amendment suggests that the discussion about keeping and bearing of arms ought to be taking place in the context of a militia that is well regulated. The problem with this formulation, however, is that the words and their meanings change over the years. Much of the fighting in the American Revolution was done by militias. After the war was won, Washington's army was disbanded, which left the security of the new country in the hands of the militias. Only people who pledged their support for the Revolutionary War were allowed to keep guns, which disarmed about 40% of the white population that was still loyal to England. The feeling quickly grew, however, that these militias needed to be regulated, or else they could turn into armed anti-government forces, such as happened in the 1971 Whiskey Rebellion in Pennsylvania. There were also racist fears, especially in the South. Carl Bogus, in his article The Hidden History of the Second Amendment, wrote, James Madison drafted the Second Amendment to assure his constituents in Virginia and the South generally that Congress could not use its newly acquired powers and to indirectly undermine the slave system by disarming the militia on which the South relied for slave control. Today we find militia has been adopted by many anti-government hate groups around our nation. It is suspected that a number of recent shooting deaths of government and Justice Department officials have been carried out by such militia members. The most powerful interpreter of the Second Amendment today is the National Rifle Association, which portrays itself as an organization dedicated to keeping America free and armed, and interprets gun ownership as an individual right guaranteed by the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court, in its Heller v. District of Columbia landmark ruling in 2008, throughout the District of Columbia's handgun ban, it stated that the Second Amendment right of the people to keep and bear arms protects a right to private possession of a handgun for the defense of oneself and family in the home. A 5-4 majority led by Justice Antonin Scalia thus ignored the intended contextual meaning of the ablative absolute in the amendment, giving its blessing instead to the abbreviated 14-word version on t-shirts and other public venues. Meanwhile, our nation continues to wrestle with the horror of the Newton School massacre and the need for greater gun regulation that relates to individuals as well as militias. On April 4th, Governor Daniel Malloy of Connecticut signed the nation's most far-reaching gun control bill, a 139-page document crafted by leaders from both major parties. The law adds more than 100 weapons to the state's ban on assault weapons, limits the capacity of ammo magazines to 10 or fewer rounds, and requires background checks for all weapon sales, including at gun shows. It also establishes the nation's first statewide registry for people convicted of crimes involving dangerous weapons. Access to the registry would be available only to law enforcement. So, that's the article. I know it's kind of weird. It was kind of hard listening to me read that because I didn't pre-read it. I just saw this a little bit ago, and I wanted to go ahead and share it with you. And so sorry if that was hard to listen to, but yeah, really just like I want to see people start discussions down in the comment section, and if you want to make a video that's in reply to this video of me reading this article about what you think about what was shared in the article, please do that. I mean, really, I want to see y'all start discussions because I just think that's important to help show where people stand. You know, you can, I mean, Facebook is popular. I mean, that's a good place to show. I mean, it's obviously you're friends with a lot of people or a few people. It's a good way to get your opinions out. But YouTube, I mean, honestly, I think YouTube is a lot more popular when it comes to people sharing their opinions and actually being completely open about what they think. So, that's one thing I want to start seeing happen on YouTube in some ways. I don't want to see it become one of those like shitholes little drama war sites. Like, I know it kind of has in a way, but I mean, like Facebook's become. So please share your opinions, share what you think about what's going. The article said it wasn't a very long article, but I don't know if there were. I think there were parts that really didn't like. I don't know, just like that didn't really fit together as well as it could have been. But you know, there's a lot of stuff that's mentioned in that article, and I just want to know what you guys think about it. So. Also, if you share this video with your friends and share videos like this with your friends and your family and people like that, people who you think need to become more educated with shit, and this stuff. So, until next time, keep it true. Caleb.